So I'm pursuing all my options. I met with an adoption attorney who was very encouraging, and I recently began the artificial insemination process. So with a little bit of luck, I could be pregnant right now. I said too much for a first date, didn't I?
Hey everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to our Paws On Animation and our podcast.
Today we're covering the movie Baby Mama. Never thought we would cover this.
And this underrated classic ABC movie stars Tina Fey and Amy Poehler, both brilliant, in an absolutely hilarious comedy. Plus, it was not only requested to us to cover, but also guest starring Rascal family member Playmaker.
Yay!
Hey guys.
But
Being here again.
And before we start, be sure to like, subscribe, and include notification updates on future podcasts and all the pause videos.
absolutely, and we're very happy to have you. So,
Oh, same here.
tell us first, what made you request this, and when did you originally watch this movie?
Well, the big thing that made me just want to request this because I know it's like how you guys bring up like a lot of older movies or movies from my childhood, like whether they be animated or some live action. And I noticed like now a lot of live action has been covered like recently. So a big thing that I wanted, and this movie overall is definitely like one of the top tier of my childhood, if really, because like my mom actually showed this to me when I was about 7 or 8ish years old.
Okay.
right around time, but yeah, she was definitely very careful with what I watched, but like. She like, told me to do things like not turn around here or go away there, whenever, things got dicey or like things I didn't understand. But like I was 7 or 8 years old, so I couldn't really understand the forte of it.
Oh my god.
Yeah, like really the only thing I paid attention to was like the babies or the funny moments or just basically Amy Poehler, really.
Yes.
Right.
Now, for those of you not familiar with this movie, Baby Mama is a 2008 American romantic comedy written and directed by Michael McCullers in his directorial debut. As we mentioned, it stars Tina Fey and Amy Poehler, but it also has Greg Kinnear, Dax Shepard, and Steve Martin, as well as Sigourney Weaver,
Yes.
and a few others, but it's an absolutely hilarious comedy. And we became aware of this movie during the lockdown.
Yeah.
I watched it first. I laughed my head off. I had tears rolling down my face. And I said, Rascal, you gotta watch this movie. And
Yeah.
at first she was like, oh no, like just watch it. Just trust me, just watch it. And then we both were laughing, tears still streaming down my face.
Right.
So, Playmaker, how many times have you seen Baby Mama?
Oh boy, like when I was young, probably like 10, 12 times. Like I would watch it a lot, mainly because like I said, I only really watched it when I was a kid for the funny moments, or like whenever they talk about Tom and Jerry, and you remember they had the Tom and Jerry ending there.
Yes.
Right.
Like, for me, that was the biggest thing that I would watch, reasons I would watch it. And then as I grew up, not as much. Though I did watch it like about a year ago-ish, I think, or like or a couple months ago with my brother, and we just thought like, hey, let's watch this movie again. And it was funny as you remember.
It
And it was
is.
even more surprising, like when you mentioned those actors there. It was more surprising for me was because like I didn't know. I just watched movies for what they were and just what kind of characters or people were in it. But like as I grew up and I learned more about actors, like who Tom Kenny is, or who Sigourney Weaver, or who any of these other big name actors are, when I actually knew who they were, how big they were, how many movies they've been in, it was much more surprising to me watching it now, because then I realized, oh my gosh, I didn't know Sigourney Weaver, the woman from Alien, was here, or who else was there?
Greg Kinnear, Dax Shepard.
Yes, oh my gosh, all of those guys are just a pie in the face to me, realizing that, oh my gosh, these guys who are from these big movies are in this.
Right.
Yes. Now, if you have seen Baby Mama multiple times, let us know in the comments below.
Yes. And it's definitely one of those movies that you don't really see be made anymore. And this is ABC and Disney. Disney is usually known for having some really cheesy but fun channel movies. They weren't big events or things they would have in the theater. They would just be small, simple movies, fun concepts. And sometimes they would have more adult situations for the ABC lineup, and they just treat it the same way. It was just something to laugh, something fun, something just a hilarious concept. And these rom-com movies that we remember just seeing all the time, they were like our live-action shoujo animes, would just be the most outrageously weird types of settings, and yet you would still be interested in laughing and believing all these concepts they would come up with. So it's really great to actually see a movie like this again.
Now, after watching it the first time, I actually remember seeing trailers for it. This actually was at the theaters before it was aired on TV. And it had a $30 million budget and grossed $64 million. So it definitely wasn't a failure. It made double what it took to make it. And I think what was so probably surprising, like it was to me, you know them from Saturday Night Live, but the fact that they made this movie and the characters that they portray, and they actually put this on film
Right.
and actually put it in the theater, and people actually loved it.
Right.
It's just like surprising.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, like a lot of these ABC things, like they always have like it's always like a hit or miss thing. Miss with them. It's like they gotta have like the right amount of comedy and the right amount of adult situation for it to work. Because sometimes they just completely flop.
Yeah, and we've seen that happen with some of their newer ones where they're kind of just lacking in the humor. Like they'll have some good ideas, and then they just really fall flat in the humor because they're trying too hard to be cool or trying to appeal to only specifically influencers or people on YouTube. Oh, you know how it is to get 10 million subscribers in like 30 minutes, and it's like, no, not everyone's gonna get that.
Yes.
And I think they were ahead of their time, because when you think about it, their characters in their late 30s, and this is what they were going through. And I think now this movie will still be successful because their target audience, and two, because of the topics that were covered in it, and it was just some really absolutely ridiculous scenarios that you knew wouldn't happen in real life, and that's what it made so funny. I think even if it were released today, they still would have a hit. Now they're older, of course, so maybe they have to bump it up by 10 years.
Right.
But I think it would be even more hilarious.
Right.
But I think this is a timeless comedy, and I think you can watch it multiple times, as Flamer has, and still find it hilarious. It's just brilliant, and both of these are not only brilliant writers, but they're also brilliant performers.
Right.
Absolutely. And I just want to ask, like, I know you guys asked me the questions a lot, but I want to ask them here. Out of the two actors between Tina Fey and Amy Poehler, who's your favorite here out of the two?
Oh my God.
For me, Amy Poehler.
Okay.
Yeah, for me too.
I love Amy Poehler and I love Tina Fey for two different reasons. One, Amy Poehler is just, again, she's brilliant and she's fantastic in everything. I don't care what it's been. I love Tina Fey because she's brilliant. She's written other comedies besides this one that you just, as a woman, I relate to, and I see the humor. They're not offensive, and she's gorgeous, but she doesn't have an attitude. And I like her comments that she makes on beauty. And they're just like things you wouldn't expect a woman to say, but she says them, and I like them together because they're friends, they stay friends, there's no ego, attitude. I especially love them when they help host the Oscars.
Yeah.
They were fantastic, so I love them both.
Yeah. And
But also loved, was it Amy Poehler that was in, you know what I'm talking about?
the cartoon, right?
Yes.
The
Mighty B. Yes.
That's where I first
Yeah,
heard her.
I remember that. Oh, did you know she was also in SpongeBob?
Yes.
Yes, actually.
Yeah, and that surprised me too to find out that she was the old snail lady in Gary Come Home.
Right. It's like, oh my gosh, you actually sound like a whole different person.
Yes, so I love them both.
Yes.
I do.
Yes.
I can see why you love Amy Poehler. Absolutely.
Right.
So, if you guys love Tina Fey or Amy Poehler better, let us know in the comments below and why.
Right.
So, what would you say is the funniest scene in this entire movie? And there's too many to choose from,
Okay.
but you can try.
Okay.
And you know I'm Marco, so I gotta sit and think a while.
Right.
Which one did
No,
you?
I don't
Right.
This is the only situation I'm not like Marco here. I can think of two scenes and two parts in the same scene that are the funniest in the movie.
Okay.
Number one.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, you said.
We said okay. We're ready.
All right, the funniest one, the first one where she, where Tina Fey comes in the house, she sees Amy Poehler like acting all, basically teen and moody and doing all the stuff that she doesn't want for the baby and whatnot. And then right when I would have thought that the cigarettes would have been like the biggest jump off point for her, thinking like how dare you or how whatever. and then right when Amy Poehler says, "Oh, that's hair dye," and then they go right to the shower scene, where she's like, "Oh, stop, stop!" And then she goes, "I'm clean, I'm clean." I would record that 10 times, and then the scene right after where Tina Fey comes in and apologizes, "I'm sorry, I had to do all that," and then Amy Poehler was like, "Yeah," and then she says, "I'm sorry, I bought it in your purse."
Oh my god.
I would say that to my mom. Like when I was a little kid, I would say that to my mom every now and then, and she would look at me like, "What? Where did you get that from?"
Right. Okay.
How about you?
And for my favorite scene would be actually it's the same scene. It's like a running gag in the movie. Is that they always say that guys don't understand what women go through when they're pregnant, going through all of the stages and everything before they give birth. And the funniest thing is that when they wanted a guy to leave the room, like it was the doorman, the bellboy, the friend, boyfriend, whatever, they leave the room, they start talking about their time of the month, and they would immediately just run out of the room like, no, and they would leave the room. And it's like, and that's before it became a marketable topic for a movie and a show now. So it's like, don't want to hear it and you leave. Oh, I'm having no.
Again, ahead of their time. Okay, I picked one, and I'm gonna stop at one because I can keep going. I love when she first came to interview and to apply for the position, I guess to say. And Tina Fey's character was like, she was not happy. And then she and Amy Poehler's character and her boyfriend had practiced what they were going to say and what they were going to do. They were going to run this scam. So she was ready for everything. And then she reluctantly agreed. And it was like, did you really just do this? She was expressing such desperation in that moment, like, okay, I'll do it. I'll just take it. It's like, oh my gosh, are you serious? No one in their right mind would do it.
Right.
When I was like, I understood a little bit of what was going on as a kid, and like at that point, to me it made sense. But like again, I didn't know what in the world was going on. I didn't know the process or like what they had to do and what they were doing. I just thought like, oh, it's just a simple transaction. But then now growing up, I'm thinking like, yeah, well, what in the world? Like, they're portraying her as this smart, educated woman that's going through issues. And she immediately stopped talking about option one.
I was like, no way, no one would choose her.
Right.
No one.
Right.
Oh, unless it's Cletus on The Simpsons. Nobody
like last resort. Yeah.
Oh, I loved it. It's just brilliant. And they really showed their comedic timing and their partnership and how they're just great together. And no matter what they do, and they've done other movies, but again, hosting the Oscars, they were probably the best part of the Oscars that year.
Right.
I was just like, yes. And I remember people asking for them to host it again. I guess they were too popular because it hasn't happened yet.
Right.
So, do you own Baby Mama on DVD?
I believe so. At my mom's, I do. We had an older copy a while ago, and yeah, like I think at my mom's I do, but like not here do.
So, tell everyone about the featurettes and the deleted scenes and the extras that are on this DVD.
I don't think I've looked at that in a while. I'm sorry.
What?
Oh, okay.
Well, from what we know, it's a featurette, and there's a segment on the two of them being legends of comedy.
Right.
And
Behind
there's
the
deleted
scenes.
scenes right behind the scenes. So if you don't own Baby Mama and you find it at a great price, which we hope we do, it's definitely worth a buy. And if you haven't seen it, I don't know where we'll be able to see. The studio that put it out was Universal. So you think it's on Paramount?
I guess, or
I
Peacock?
You can also try your luck with HBO.
Oh,
Yeah, or
okay.
or Peacock, one or the other, yeah.
So have you seen?
Probably Peacock, especially since Amy Poehler actually did promote Peacock once.
Okay.
Right,
That
that's
makes
true.
sense then. So if you've seen Baby Mama, let us know what you think in the comments below. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did you think it was meh? Let us know what you think. And if you haven't, we highly recommend you watch it. It is unconventional. It is hilarious, hysterical.
Absolutely.
It is brilliant. and don't listen to Rotten Tomatoes, who is really rotten now because they're bought off,
Oh.
or Metacritic, this movie is definitely worth watching.
Yes. And if you haven't already, subscribe for updates and weekly videos, favorite anime series, animated shows, and all things animation, and a little bit of live action.
Absolutely. And one last thing now, I'm glad we mentioned ending, because the ending of the movie was very sweet. It was a perfect ending after all the craziness and hilarity and slapstick and just unbelievable situations. The way that it ended was really heartwarming, and it did justice to the movie. Now, for some critics, they may not have liked it, call it predictable, but I like the way that it ended. Everybody happy.
Right.
How about you?
Right. Oh, the ending?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, and actually it kind of gave reference to like a certain earlier part in the movie, like I may be talking about like the overall end, like the ending, like when I told you about Tom and Jerry.
Yes, the very end of the movie, that and how they ended up, the one who didn't have the baby was pregnant and going to have a baby after all this time, and they ended up with the men they wanted to be with. It was a really sweet ending.
Right.
And the Tom and Jerry scene capped it off.
Right.
It actually was giving a reference to the fact like earlier in the movie when they were talking about when the difference, like I don't know what the term is with not baby mamas, that was the term for like that scenario, but like for the women who were having the couple's children. Remember that they were having a meeting about that? That's what brought up the whole Tom and Jerry analogy.
Yeah.
That actually makes sense in terms like, is like you know like most Tom and Jerry's, they did show them as friends, and they were just a little bit of edges here and there, but the point of them was like to do a little duet thing pretty much for the viewers.
Right.
That was essentially the thing that was going on to them. Like they knew that they had to deal with all these challenges. They knew they got on each other's nerves, but they didn't really hate each other. They just had to get through all the crud that they were doing with each other until eventually they came out to their goals. And just like Tom and Jerry, not always does it come out as the good ending as they wanted, like with her having the baby, giving it up and whatnot, but they did end up with what they wanted in the end.
Yes.
Right.
And yeah, it was more like a sister-like relationship for sure.
Right.
Okay, and one more scene I've got to mention is when Amy Poehler's character started drinking. She's pregnant, and she was drinking all the alcohol and the champagne and the wine, and she kept drinking. It's like, oh my God.
The lush.
And she didn't know she was pregnant at the time, but it was still hilarious.
Right.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
So, thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate you, and we appreciate you, Playmaker, for suggesting this and appearing with us on this podcast. If you haven't visited Playmaker's channel, what are you waiting for? It's awesome, and he has just a plethora, yes, I use that word, of different videos to watch. And if you go to the community channel, then you can see, do you still do the surveys?
Oh, not as much anymore. No, I've just been doing normal posts, like what are people's takes, or like how do they like these couples or characters and whatnot, but I haven't done surveys in a minute. I do plan on doing more sometime.
Okay. Well, visit for that as well as his Spider Marco. I'm laughing so hard, I'm trying to stop laughing. His Spider Marco series that is ongoing.
Yes, and lots of other videos. We got quite a bit for you to choose from.
So,
thank you so much for watching Mask Entertainment.
Mom Entertainments, and
Playmaker.
Have a fantastic day.
peace.